Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're doing well, having a good weekend. Post-Christmas week, of course. All of us are scared to get on the scales and weigh ourselves, but, well, I am, but I hope you're doing well. You know, it's that sort of like the after the Lord Mayor's show feeling, isn't it, after Christmas? But I hope you had a good time with your families and your loved ones and your significant others. And we're getting back to normal. We get New Year's Eve out of the way, and then we'll all be back to normal. But anyway. I wanted to talk a bit about Jaron Boots Ennis because, like a lot of people, I rate this guy very, very highly and have done for some time. And Boots had a pretty disappointing 2022, let's be honest. Because, in 2021, he beat Sergey Lipinets, stopped him in 6 rounds. He beat Thomas Delorme in a round, looked incredible doing it. Boots is an orthodox fighter. Very big for the weight, does everything extremely well. I mean, he's such a well-rounded fighter. Appears to have a mental calmness about him and a strength. Gets in there, everything seems very fluid, very relaxed. Doesn't appear to be someone who second guesses himself. Everything seems to flow naturally. High ring IQ, seems to know what punches to throw at what time. And like I say, there isn't really a chink in his game. He looks very, very good. Jabs well, excellent footwork. He looks like a veteran, even though he's only 25, you know. And I suppose in this day and age, I mean, he's had 29 fights, 27 knockouts. So could you call him a veteran? No, not really, not even by these standards. But 2021 was a good year. And in 2022, it kind of petered out. Now, I know in 2021, he had some legal issues. He's actually promoted by Cameron Duncan, and I think he left his previous management to join Duncan's team. I don't know the details exactly. But you thought once that was sorted out in 2021 that the ball would really get rolling. And Boots has appeared on Showtime, but he's not a PBC fighter. A lot of PBC fighters are on Showtime. Boots isn't. So he only had one fight in 2022, which was against Custio Clayton, a 35-year-old Canadian, previously undefeated, and he just wiped him out in 2 rounds, and he looked good doing it. I mean, undefeated guy, but that was back in May. So since then, nothing at all. However, one fight that seems to have slid under the radar, which people are not paying as much attention to as perhaps you would expect, is Boots' upcoming fight on the 7th of January. So it's only around the corner, against Karen Chukhadzhian. Is that his name? He's a Ukrainian fella. Chukhadzhian. I think that's how you pronounce the name. Ukrainian, I think currently based in Germany. 21 wins and 1 defeat. The defeat was a 3-rounder very early on in his career. I think it might have been in one of those tournament, 3-round fights in one night. I could be wrong about that, but Chukhadzhian, Ukrainian, 26 years old, a lot of ambition. Fought a couple of times against Blake Minto and Ryan Martin in 2022, and I think Minto retired in 6 rounds. Martin, an English fighter, coming in with a 14, I think he had a 14-1-1 record. So he is a respectable, glossy-looking record. He got stopped in 8 rounds by Chukhadzhian. So this guy, he got some ambition. He's got some ambition, and he's taking on Ennis for the IBF Interim World Welterweight title, the Interim title. The real IBF champ, as we know, is Errol Spence. But I mean, these secondary titles, I think I share the opinion that a lot of you have, which is that they're an annoyance and they're kind of trite and meaningless. But at the same time, they do get you a ranking, and I suppose the winner of this could be mandatory to face Spence. Okay, so what do we think of this fight? Chukhadzhian is an orthodox fighter, like I say, 26 years old. What has he got? 11. I think it's 11 KOs in 21 wins. So it doesn't suggest he's got a lot of pop, although probably he's a grind 'em down fighter. You've got to make Boots Ennis a hot favourite, and this fight's going to take place in Washington. And Yeah, I mean, I don't see Ennis losing this fight. Now, Ennis is from Philadelphia, which is the fighting city, and he's got that air about him. He's got that real confident air. I remember back in the day. See, my ex-wife, who's American, lives in Philly, and back in the day, there used to be regular TV, regular, I think it was weekly TV coverage from the Blue Horizon, which is in Philly, and it's kind of like, if you can imagine sort of an American York Hall. They showed some brilliant, brilliant fights, and it really showed the culture, the boxing culture and history that exists in Philly. And Boots seems to be like the latest generation of that. So this will be in Washington, the state of Washington, not Washington DC, I don't think, but he's going to fight Chukhadzhian there. I would expect a win for Boots, probably by stoppage. But it's good to see Boots, back in the saddle. And like I say, this fight is less than 2 weeks away. The IBF interim world title, maybe, it gets you a ranking. Maybe it's something to a bargaining chip, if you like. So I'm not going to knock it too much. Chukhadzhian actually is, I think, he's got one of those secondary belts, like the interim, what the hell, like the intercontinental belt or whatever it's called. So he made a few defences of that. So he's earned his right to go in with Boots. If you're talking like the IBF. And I don't think this is a complete mismatch, but I do think that Boots will win, probably stop Chukhadzhian in about 6 rounds. And I just think he's got too much of everything from Chukhadzhian. Although I haven't seen more than, I think I've seen 2 of his fights, Chukhadzhian. I've seen a lot more of Boots than I have of the Ukrainian fella. But dimensions-wise and age-wise, I mean, Boots is 25, Chukhadzhian's 26. Chukhadzhian's, I think, 5'10", roughly, and same with Boots. But Boots looks like a very, very big, full welterweight who's going to move up eventually. But it's good to see Boots back. It's good to see, because this guy, he's so talented, and he deserves to have had more than one fight in 2022. And I want to see 2023 where he really makes a splash and puts his name out there and backs it up. So, what do you think of Boots, Ennis? Let me know. Give me your opinions. Do you think there's a lot of hype around him. I think he's more than just a hype job. I don't think the hype is throwaway stuff. I think it's valid. This guy can really fight. Sometimes it's the manner in which you get your work done. And with Boots, watching him fight, I think, okay, yeah, this guy's got it. He's got that. It's, I hate this phrase, but he's got that X factor. And I would expect him to, if he's handled correctly, to move up and to eventually become a world champ. What about the promotional situation? Cameron Duncan how much power does he have to get Boots the right fights? With Boots being on Showtime but not being PBC. Okay, can they build something there? We know what PBC fighters are like. We know what Heyman is like with negotiating fights for his fighters who, he wants all the bargaining chips. He wants any opponents to be on the right side of the bill. And in fairness, if Spence was to fight Ennis, yeah, Spence has earned the right to be on that left side of the bill. He is the star. Same with Crawford. Crawford and Ennis, I'd love to see that as well. But is it going to happen? What do you think? What do you think is next for Boots? Do you think if he does beat Chukhadzhian that he can move on and actually vie for world titles, or do you think he's going to have to wait until Spence and Crawford eventually, let's be honest, get too old, or eventually do fight each other, and then maybe they unify, and then eventually the belts go up in the air? What do you think is going to happen for Ennis? How do you think his career is going to pan out? Because at 25, he's still got time. It's not like he's an ultra rush. And Crawford's, was he 35, nearly 36? Spence is 32, but once the dust settles and they either move on or retire or whatever, Ennis is probably going to be only in his late 20s. So time's on his side, but I would like to see a man with that talent fight more regularly. So what do you think? Leave your comments below. As always, thanks for your time. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. That would be great. Hit the like button. And yeah, I love reading your comments. Sometimes I read your comments and I think, I didn't think of that. Yeah, Keep it civil. I'm all ears. I love this is why I do this channel, to connect with other boxing fans. So leave your comments below. I'm looking forward to reading them. And meanwhile, take care of yourselves. We'll speak again soon. Bye for now.